She's the hilarious influencer best known for sharing her dating rules and tips on TikTok.
My rules for the talking stage number 1, decide what the fuck you want. Listen to me right now. I never want to hear again like, oh my God, does he like me? Do you like him? Oh my God, do they want to see me again? Do you want to see them again? We forget to ask ourselves these questions because we're so caught up in potential feelings from the other person. Decide WTF you want.
Now Eli Rallo is offering even more wisdom through her upcoming book, I Didn't Know I Needed This. We're chatting with her about the exciting new project, plus she's sharing her top advice for dating in your 20s. This is Advocate Now. Well, Eli, over the past few years, your career has really taken off on TikTok. Fans have called you an internet best friend and the Gen Z Carrie Bradshaw. How did it all start?
Wow, it was really random. I think I'm kind of like a pandemic baby. I was home for the pandemic. I was a 2020 college graduate, so I got sent home. And I've always loved creating. I was a theater major in college. I was set on going to get my master's in journalism at Columbia. I was always a writer. And so I was messing around on TikTok and a video went viral and the rest is sort of history. So TikTok was really like the impetus for all of it. I think it's interesting. I always like knew that my life would be headed into a really creative direction and one where I felt like I was my own boss and I was writing and creating on a daily basis, but I didn't know like how I was going to get there. So the journey was definitely different and unique and something I didn't even know existed when I started college, but I'm super grateful for it nonetheless.
And your confidence really shines through on your content, but being that you're only in your mid-20s, how are you able to develop such a strong sense of self and confidence at such a young age?
I think, thank you, first of all. And I think it's really interesting. I had a lot of self-esteem and confidence issues in college because I always felt like I was too much. And I felt like I have a loud personality. I'm very opinionated. And I think society really sees like loud opinionated women as something to fear or something to like immediately squash or stifle. Society just doesn't like that type of woman. It's not something that they're used to or told to tolerate. And I think that I really felt the reverberations of that messaging throughout my childhood and my young adult life when I was in college, 18, 19, 20 years old. And honestly, through reading and surrounding myself with like strong opinionated women to look up to, I realized that like I'm not too much and I can act how a man acts. Like there's no sort of script that I have to follow. I'm allowed to break free from that. And I think it was a lot of reading. Like there was a lot of books and mentors and people that inspired me that I looked up to that I was like, well, they're doing it, so I'm going to do it too. I'm going to be myself too. And I sort of realized that like if I'm doing my best that I possibly can and I'm being kind to myself and others and I'm working hard, I've done all I can do. And if other people don't like me, that's a personality conflict. That's okay. They're entitled to that. But I'm not going to spend my limited time on earth concerning myself with them. I'm just going to keep doing my best and being kind and putting myself out there. And that really freed me. And that was definitely something that happened probably like toward the end of my college experience. And I would say like during COVID and all the reflecting I had when we were in the pandemic and through my work now has really like shined, I think.
Well, you are known for creating these lists of rules on TikTok, many of which are tips for dating. Dating, of course, can be pretty stressful, especially in your 20s. So what tips do you have for keeping it fun and lighthearted in the early stages?
I think I use this like a lot, this sort of metaphor, but you are like driving your own car, like you are in the driver's seat. And I think a lot of times women and non-men specifically look at dating as though they're in the passenger seat and they're waiting for someone to drive them around. But like you have the agency to make any choices. Like I used to think for so long, it was like, guy meets girl, guy asks out girl, guy decides how he feels about girl, and girl just waits. But that's not true at all. Like you're both dating each other, you're both on the same level. And once you start realizing like you're in the driver's seat, you can make a decision to hit the gas and go, to put the car in reverse, to brake, to get out, to stop, to look at the view, to pick somebody up, to drive by yourself. I don't know, I just felt much more free when I realized like my choices and how I'm feeling are equally as important as the other person.
And many of your lists are about elevating a date or a girls' night, whatever it might be. But what would you say are 3 key components to make up a perfect first date?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think the number one is that you feel comfortable and you feel confident. Like, the person aside, that you're sitting there and you're like, I'm not uncomfortable, I feel comfortable and I feel confident. I like my outfit, I'm feeling good. This person doesn't make me feel weird. That's number one. I would say number two, that you are actively checking in with yourself throughout the date. So I think a lot of the dating I did before, before really like now and like meeting my now boyfriend, I did a lot of the like, oh my God, does he like me? Oh my God, does he think I'm funny? Did he laugh at that because he thought he had to? Oh my God, does he want to see me again? I would leave the date never asking myself, did he make me laugh? Did I like him? Am I attracted to him? Did he make me feel good? So I think checking in with yourself. And the third thing is like just having fun. Like, do something fun. If you don't like drinking and like going out for cocktails, don't go out for cocktails on a first date. Like, go out for a coffee, go play mini golf. Like, do something that you want to do. You're going to be more comfortable when you're having a good time. And even if the date isn't great and you don't feel a connection with that person, at least you had a good time. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're doing something that's not going to be fun. Like, it's supposed to be fun. This isn't supposed to be something that's like nails on a chalkboard. And I feel like we view it that way so often.
And what about, would you say when it comes to a breakup, what are some rules for tackling heartbreak? Do you have a set amount of time that you give yourself?
I think that's something that's so crazy. I remember when I was like going through my first real heartbreak, I was a freshman in college, and my best friend had also just experienced a heartbreak. And she told me the only thing that's going to help is time. And she said, you're going to kill me, but the only thing that's going to help is time. And I think that viewing time as not your enemy is really important. So giving yourself a lot of time to wallow, however much time you need. Like, really, you have to feel everything, especially the hard things. Because if you don't do that, if you like just pretend you're okay, you're gonna just like layer concrete on top of those feelings, and eventually you're gonna have to bulldoze away that concrete. And it's so much harder than just addressing them when they're like freshly laid on the soil. So I would say feel everything, especially the hard things. Don't make time your enemy. Like, it does take time, and it's going to be little by little. A mile will turn into a marathon. It's not going to be overnight. And I would say also, like, set goals for yourself. Like I always say, and I don't know a better, more eloquent way to say this, but make a thing into a thing. So for me, it's like, okay, a breakup is a thing. I'm going to elevate this experience by setting goals for myself. When I was in this relationship, I didn't have time to really explore the fact that I want to take a pottery class, but now I'm going to go take a pottery class and try that. And it's going to be my goal to make a pot that I like in my house or something of that nature. Or, now that I'm feeling ready to start dating again, I'm going to set a goal to go on 3 dates this month. I'm not looking for anything. It's just a trial run. Or, I kind of like used to love to go on runs, and I've sort of fell off of that. So for myself, I'm going to set a goal to run a 5K. I think setting goals and just having things to look forward to that are just for you and just for your benefit is so important. And the last thing I would say is, the best revenge is success in silence. And I think we forget that a lot. A lot of people will be like, I need to hook up with his best friend, or I need to, make a private Snapchat story with just him on it so he sees me, or just that person on it so that they can see that I'm thriving. The only way that you can really get revenge is being successful, thriving, being happy in your own right, and not saying a word. I know it's hard. Like, I have done the opposite of that so many times, but that's really the only thing that really works at the end of the day.
And I'm sure fans will be able to get much more of this with the upcoming release of your book, I Didn't Know I Needed This. What else can people expect?
I think what's really cool about it is that it has this lovely balance between this intimate vulnerability and sort of like the fun, spunky, elevated rules, and a little bit of humor, which was always something I was strong at in school, was like funny writing and humorous writing, whether it was plays or screenplays or whatever I was up to. So I think it's a little bit of everything, which I'm excited about. And I think it really brings you on a journey. I just actually read the whole thing yesterday because I was just approving edits from my copy editor, and I feel really good about it. And I feel like no matter what happens, like, this is the only first debut book I could have ever penned and written myself, and I'm proud of it. And I just hope that people will have dialogue based on it, whether or not they agree with every little thing I said or not, that it inspires them in some way to just talk about things more openly, because that's really the intention, is that we just feel comfortable having conversations about, things that our hearts do, and how we can react to different situations that we might experience in love or lust.
Eli, congrats on the book. Everyone keep an eye out for I Didn't Know I Needed This, coming this fall. Thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'm Sonia Baghdadi. Thanks for watching and advocating. For more stories and content like this, visit advocate.com and advocatechannel.com.